the biggest winner was the SEC. Jaden Ivey's got more handles than a jungle gym. Yeah, look, I think you have to consider it a fail.
Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crane.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Once again, thank you guys for hopping in. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Joined by the usual team. We're pushing P hard on a Wednesday. Hope you guys are as well as we boat race here toward the weekend. Got a lot to get to. Want to start with what went down last night in Fayetteville. Auburn, number one team in the country. Still woke up this morning, number one team in the SEC at 10-1. Went to Fayetteville without Zep Jasper in an environment in Bud Walton, which we talked about this all week. Bud Walton Arena in Arkansas is one of the hardest places to play when the Hogs are cooking. They've now won 9 in a row. And I want to talk about Arkansas first, but there's a bigger picture thing here that I want to convey to everybody and really show you, circumstantially where the SEC is right now and what it means. You have to tip your cap to Arkansas. Auburn out-rebounded them 60-42. They stepped to the line. They hit free throws. Jaden Note, it felt like he played the whole game. Jalen Williams had foul trouble. Still felt like he played the whole game. But Arkansas did what they had to do down the stretch in that game to win it, getting it to overtime and, shooting 14 free throws, I think, in overtime and stepping up there and knocking them down, like I said. And Arkansas is a dangerous team. Is Arkansas a team that's going to make a run to the Final Four? Probably not. But this win, they were a 7 seed projected in ESPN's bracketology with Joe Lunardi going in. This will only increase that. But it continues to show you the versatility of the Southeastern Conference in college basketball. There are no nights off. You have to go to Arkansas. Hell, going to Georgia is not a guarantee. Auburn snuck by them by 2. Alabama went over there and lost. And I'm sure it won't be the last we hear from Georgia at home as we wind down the back half of the Southeastern Conference. But you look at going to Florida, look at going to Tennessee, look at going to Mississippi State. We've got matchups. Alabama goes to Ole Miss tonight. Tennessee does go to Mississippi State. It's showing you the depth of the SEC and that there is not a night off. And as this conference continues to build, depth not only from the far reaches out toward Missouri, and you got Texas and Oklahoma coming in, but on the East Coast, Vanderbilt and Scottie Pippen Jr., they're starting to figure it out a little bit. It just goes to show you, and we've said it on this show a million times, that when the Southeastern Conference decides they want to be the best in something, whether it's archery, axe throwing, whack-a-mole, Wordle, or college basketball, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you have to tip your cap to Eric Musselman and the Arkansas Razorbacks on a big win last night. But to the Auburn fans that are panicking, stop. If I would have told you before the season started, the day before tip-off, that as of February 9th, Auburn would be 22-2 and 10-1 in the SEC, you would have taken that in spades. Let me put this in perspective. Remember where Auburn was when Bruce Pearl took the job in the first couple years? And even going back to last year with the Chuck Person stuff and not being able to play in the postseason? Arkansas just stormed the court after beating Auburn. Let me say that again. Arkansas, 21,000 people. Eric Musselman said there may not be another environment like that in the next 50 years. Stormed the court after beating Auburn in basketball. That's one of the biggest compliments that you can get. To quote Drake, they started from the bottom, and now they're here. Let's roll the clip. Watch this pandemonium here. You see Wendell Green's going to dribble down. Why is Jabari Smith not shooting the ball? I'll never understand it. He misses it. Going to get the rebound. They're up 4. The game's over, and you can see what it means. You're going to get a dunk here at the end. Didn't count because time expired, but look at this. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like Black Friday at a Best Buy in downtown New York. The scene was immaculate. Eric Musselman was crowd surfing with his shirt off. It goes to show you how far Auburn has come from being a cellar dweller to having people rush the court after they beat you in basketball. So there's positives to take from all sides, and not just for Auburn and Arkansas. And I know Auburn lost. There are no moral victories. But again, you're 22-2. Zep Jasper, your best on-ball defender, the guy that would have been guarding Jaden Note, who dropped an absolute bag last night, pretty much a 30-piece. You know that Auburn is fine. But this helps the SEC from an Arkansas standpoint, helps the seed. and really kind of paves the way for another team to get that spot, whether it's Florida that's on the bubble, whether it's Mississippi State. So the biggest winner last night was not Arkansas. They were a huge winner. The biggest winner was the SEC. You're starting to see the depth show and the teams that are now on a national stage and the respect that has been garnered. But like I said, shout out to the fans there in Fayetteville, guys. It was a crazy scene last night. We watched the whole game. But if you go back and look, Walker Kessler was dominant. There's a lot of questions, and I'm going to get to those about Auburn in a second, but just your thoughts initially on what was a crazy scene in Fayetteville last night.
This win wouldn't have been that surprising at the beginning of the year, right? Because we thought Arkansas was going to be great, but the way that they played early in the season and the way that Auburn's played so far, I mean, it led to this, like, what a fantastic win for Arkansas at home. Like, my question is, did J.D. Notate come off the floor last night?
I don't see him come off the floor.
The floor.
41 minutes.
What an unbelievable performance by him, and it took every bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's I believe it was a record at Bud Walton for the amount of fans I have. And you won't, this is such a win for not only Arkansas, but for both teams, right? You know, Auburn, just the elite talent they have. And no team you really want to say, well, they need to lose the game. But this doesn't hurt Auburn. You get to see I think Wendell Green said, you know, he kind of forgot what losing felt like, right? And the only thing we kind of hit on this yesterday about Auburn, you know, is down the stretch in big moments, you know, your big players have to take shots.
Yeah.
Right? And we kind of go back and look at that game. I believe Jabari Smith played 32 minutes. Walker Kessler played 33. You know, Jalen Williams, Tony, you know, J.D. Note, you know, almost played 40 minutes each.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand depth and things like that. But at the end of the day, your best player's got to win you big games. Right? That's what it is. And they can't win you big games from the what? From the bench. So, you know, I hope it gets to a point where Auburn, you know, kind of decides, you know, well, we got to have our guys in, you know, especially, you know, you get to the SEC tournament, I can understand holding legs and saving stuff like that. But it's going to look pretty bad if you do hold your legs and rest guys and it doesn't pay out in the end.
Yeah, well, you know, my thing, and I get Zep Jaspers out.
For sure.
A.D. Johnson didn't have a great game. But at some point, the conversation's got to be had with some of these guys on Auburn's team. You got to stop taking shots in big moments. Devin Cambridge shooting a three, which scientists still cannot figure out the rotation on Devin Cambridge's ball.
Yeah.
Devin Cambridge shooting threes when you're up 2 on the road in a big game, it's under 2.5 minutes, can't happen. He can't take 8 shots. He needs to go in there, offensive rebound. If you're going to go back up with it, go back up with it. If not, kick it out. He doesn't need to be taking big shots in big moments. You're not that guy. I'm sorry, that's not your role. Jalen Williams, you can't take 5 shots in a row, and you can't get punked at the end. You're watching the game. You know, they missed that free throw. Auburn's down 3, and the other Jalen Williams just bullied him, just big boyed him. And you find out who you can trust in those moments. Jalen Williams can't take 5 shots in a row. You're not that guy. I'm sorry. I know you're an older guy, but the younger guys, the Wendells, the Jabaris, those guys need to be taking the shots in those moments. Hell, even the Walker Kesslers, they got to find a way to get him the ball even more down low. There needs to start being some role defining on Auburn. And I'm not trying to be mean, but the worst thing that can happen is these guys just continue to think that they're all Michael Jordan, and you get in an NCAA tournament. You want to talk about being upset? Get in an NCAA tournament game and have Devin Cambridge shooting shots that matter. Have Jalen Williams shooting shots that matter. Guys that don't need to be doing it. In football or in any sport, when it comes down to it, in those crunch time moments, the best players have to make the plays. They have to take the shots. And you know what? If you lose, then so be it.
Yeah.
But some of these guys have to start understanding who they are. And I know, and look, they're 22-2, and we're not second guessing the coaches. But when you get to tournament time, in a single elimination game, Devin Cambridge can't be taking those shots. Jalen Williams can't be taking those shots. Alan Flanagan can't be taking those shots, even though Flanagan played a lot better than I thought he would, going back home and the way that he's been playing. But, you know, Wendell, that last possession, you can go back and forth. Should they have called timeout? I just don't understand, and I won't understand why you don't run that offense through Jabari Smith. Let Wendell work the high pick and roll. Him and Walker can do that and kick it to the corner and get it to Jabari. But you have guys on Auburn right now, and I know Bruce is going to cut down the rotation when you get to tournament time. I get that. Everybody does that. I know Zep Jasper's out. But at some point, you've got to have the conversation and sit these guys down and say, listen, here's what you do. This is what you do. And if you're up 25, you know, and you're rolling somebody, then take the shot. Or if you're wide open for a dunk or Cambridge on an alley-oop, then take the shot. But sometimes you got to sit a guy down and say, listen, I don't want to take your stinger away, but you're not that guy. And once the rotation gets cut down, I think you're going to see that, because guess what happens? We saw Jabari Smith come out of pick and roll last night and get downhill. What's the first thing that happened? He gets fouled and makes the shot. Yeah. You know what he's going to do. But this whole everybody can shoot whenever and you can't do it. It's going to cost you a game in the NCAA tournament, and that's the season. That's it. It all comes down to March.
Look, I realize the rotation is not going to be the same in the tournament as it was last night, but at some point it is worth examining. I mean, there was a point in last night's game, I didn't know 4 of the 5 guys out there for Auburn. I only knew Wendell.
Dylan Cardwell shot a 3.
I get it. You're trying to save legs and all this kind of stuff, but at some point, having a championship mentality in the regular season, and when you're going on the road to play a great team like Arkansas, is more important than resting legs. I mean, let these young guys go out there and fight. J.D. Notae's fighting. There's a guy up in Purdue, Jaden Ivey, we're going to talk about, who's fighting.
Played the whole game, basically.
I mean, so, I get it. The rotation will be different. And after Bruce, if Bruce goes on and wins the championship, we'll say, see, I knew what I was doing. I was resting legs, and Jabari showed out in the tournament. Okay, we can have that conversation. But for me right now, man, Walker Kessler is Auburn's most important player.
I agree 100%.
I get it.
Jabari 16, Smith, 19, and 7?
Jabari Smith may be the number 1 overall pick. He may be the greatest pro who ever plays the game. He may become Auburn's most important player in the tournament.
Yeah.
But right now, Walker Kessler on both ends of the floor, I watch him play, and it's unbelievable. I'm like, on both ends of the floor, he is dominant, okay? And he is their most important player.
Yeah, well, I look at this, and you watch Jaden Ivey play, and then you watch Jabari Smith play, right? And there's a point in that Purdue and that Illinois game for about 5 to 7 minutes.
Give me the ball.
That game. I don't care if you're on the court, if you're in the stands, or you're watching watching it from TV. You knew who was about to shoot that ball. You knew who it was. Yeah. And there's a stretch in that Auburn game. And you kind of go back to the Georgia game, too, and it's kind of the same thing, where Jabari Smith had shots and passed it up. And it's different from college in the NBA, right? In the NBA, you can make the right basketball play because you expect that guy to make
everybody
in the NBA. Everybody's good. But you kick the ball with about 2 minutes left
to Devin
Cambridge, who's a 24% three-point shooter and who pulled it, right? Jalen Williams, 25% three-point shooter. Devin Cambridge was 2 of 8, and Jalen Williams was 1 of 7.
Oh,
they shot 15 shots. You got to remember, Jabari Smith shot, I think, 16 shots, and those 4 shots that came probably in the last minute.
Yeah.
At some point, and this is coaching, right? This is coaching. You have to sit guys down and let them know. You can't just keep posting Jabari. You got to get him off picks. You got to get him good downhill. The things they do for Jaden Ivey at Purdue, right? They need to start doing it.
He goes and gets the ball. It's not them doing it for him. He's like, listen, I'm taking the ball.
He's coming off screens. He's getting downhill. Yeah. He's popping off in the corner. Like, the things they do to get their best player. Because you hit football earlier. 3rd and 4. Your best player is your running back. What do? I need you to go get me these 4 yards.
And it could be a swing pass. It could be an ankle route. But it's the thing is, and look, Bruce Pearl's one of the best coaches in the country. Mm-hmm. I'm not second guessing him. I see what he's doing. What I really think, and then I want to move on to this Purdue Illinois game. Mm-hmm. What I really think is that you're 22-1. You've got a guard that's out. You're 10-0 in the SEC. You're 3 games up. Do you think he was taking this strategy of, playing a ton of guys, even in crucial minutes, and seeing how long you can get away with it until the race heats up? Because now you're really 1.5, 2 games over Kentucky because you have the tiebreaker and you don't play again. You've got Arkansas has got 3 losses. Look, and I've got Arkansas goes to Bama, to Missouri, to Florida, who's on the bubble, gets Kentucky at home, and to Tennessee. They're losing 3 of those 5. Yeah. I'm just telling you, they're going to lose 3 of those 5. So it is going to come down to Auburn and Kentucky. But now that it's a race, and you're getting closer, because again, look, the conference tournament, you win the regular season, who cares? I hate to say that, but who really cares? It's about the NCAA tournament. But I wonder if now that the race is heating up, if it's like, all right, guys, some of all our parts, that's great, but we have to start, number 1, playing the best players more. Walker Kessler played, I think, and look, free throws cost Auburn. I think Walker was a little gassed at the end, and I actually thought Dylan Cardwell, outside of that 3, played pretty well. Mm-hmm. Actually, thought he played pretty well. He knows his role. he knows his role. But some of these other guys who on last year's team were the ones that were have to making plays, whether it's Jalen Williams, whether it's Devin Cambridge, whether it's Alan Flanagan, some of these guys have got to understand, look, this is just the nature of the beast. You've been out-recruited. There are better players than you on the team, and you have to accept that. It's not about you. Bruce said it in the pregame. It's about all of us. But players know. Deep down they know. But you have to stop trying to steal the moment from guys that have to be in that moment for you to win. Because guess what? You win, everybody wins. Yep. And if you lose because your best players did not play well, but had the opportunities, then you know what? So be it.
Yep.
But you will never forgive yourself if it costs you in the NCAA tournament because you have Devin Cambridge out there trying to play hero ball. And what Devin Cambridge done, offensive rebounding, that's great. 8 shots is way too much. You know, that's triple boosted plus 2 more. And the fact that Devin Cambridge and Jalen Williams shot 15 shots can't happen. Just can't happen. That's not you. What's that show with Mandy Moore? This Is Us on ABC? This Is Us. That's it. So they've got to learn from that, move on. But it's one loss. You know, getting Zep Jasper back is going to be big. Auburn's fine. Everybody that's panicking, and, you know, they're probably going to move to Gonzaga to the number 1 overall seed, which is, you know, more funny than a Jim Carrey movie. But I do want to move on to this Illinois-Purdue game because this is what? It's Pacific Rim.
Yes,
it's
Pacific
what it is.
Rim.
Yes,
Pacific Rim.
100% Pacific Rim. A heck of a game. You know, it was really back and forth early. Illinois led at half. Kofi really wasn't going off, but they were making shots. I mean, Plummer has no fear. Trent Frazier, who went down, was really worried that he was hurt bad. So glad to see him coming back in the game. He's a great player. It's a great story, too. But Purdue, offensively, is so talented. And you have to ask the question, and we're going to roll this clip in a minute. I'm going to ask the question, then I want to roll this compilation clip. Is Jaden Ivey the best player in college basketball? Let's roll the clip. Here's what you do. When you're the dog, when you're the alpha, I want the ball. I want the ball. Floater in the lane. He can score in a ton of different ways. A ton of different ways. Off the bounce. Right here, I'm going to pull it. Sink must be clogged. That's Drano. I'm going the other way. The dude is so multifaceted. Look, it's 57-50. We're taking over. I'm driving. I'm dishing. That's what happens when you're a problem on offense and you create. We can see him here in transition. You know what? It's my shot. It's my shot. Let me take us. Give me the ball. I'm the one that'll do it. And one. In a clutch moment. Now we're going to run away from them. Now we embarrass you. That's what alphas do when it comes down to it. My only question is Purdue defensively. And if maybe the shots aren't falling. But I don't know how you look at Jaden Ivey right now and not say he's the best player, especially offensively, in college basketball.
I think he is. I mean, when you look at him, it's like, remember the first time I saw Derrick Rose, you know, take off coast to coast one time, or the first time that, you know, I mean, you see some of these guys and it's like they're just different, right? Victor Oladipo, I remember the first time I saw him jumped, he hit his head on the backboard. Like some of those type of guys. I mean, this guy, and it's not just the athletic ability, because there's a guy on every team who's a great athlete, right? It's that dog mentality, I want the ball in the last couple minutes, and that was a perfect example of it. We just happened to be seeing it right after we were watching the Auburn game. We wanted to see like a Jabari Smith go get that type of ball. But look, he won't win Player of the Year. I think that Jboy has been too consistent, but Player of the Year is not always synonymous with the best player in the country.
Absolutely. I think Jaden Ivey's a top 5 pick.
Has to be.
That's what I think he is. I think he'll probably end up going 4th to the Thunder.
A little D-Wade in him.
Yeah, he's seen some jaw in him too.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's got the speed of Derrick, right? He can shoot well, and he got a little bounce in him like Ja. But if it's me, man, I mean, it's either Jabari or Chet for me. You know, you can't teach height, right? You just can't.
You love Chet Holmgren.
He's 7 foot. He can play the 1 through the 5 and shoot the 3, and he's only going to get bigger, right? And you think of Jabari, he's 6'10", right? And he's only going to get better.
Well, are we talking about? I'm talking about in college basketball. I'm not talking about projecting them in. What I'm saying is, if right now I said, Blaine, you are the new head coach of any college basketball team, and I will give you one player to take right now.
I'm taking Jabari Smith.
You're taking Jabari over Jaden Ivey.
6'10". I mean, he can elevate. He's getting better with his handles. I just think Auburn's still figuring out how to use him. Right? I think they're legitimately still figuring out. Purdue knows how to use Jaden Ivey, right? That's Jaden Ivey's team. You can't teach mentality. I know that. You can't. And the mentality from Jaden Ivey to Jabari is different, right? But
Jaden's also an older guy,
he's
too.
a sophomore. Jabari's a freshman. You're 6'10", and you can hit any shot, and you're only getting better at driving. 6'4", you can do a lot of things, right? You can be great at a lot of things. But being 6'10", it's different.
I don't think you're slicing it the wrong way. But Jaden, to me, it's so crazy. We talk about long striders, in other sports, like football, like, man, that guy's a long strider. Watch Jaden Ivey take the ball up the court. He may be 6'4", but I swear it takes him 3 steps to get up the court. He's moving with the ball so fast. And a lot of times you see guys with length struggle to dribble like that ball's on a string. Jaden Ivey's got more handles than a jungle gym. And watching him operate, whether it's driving in the gap or in the post, or taking a contested 3, or the pull-up, or the floater, he's got everything in the bag. And having to guard him, he can go right, he can go left. It's no Zoolander. He's not, he's an ambi-turner. He can turn both ways. So I do think Jaden, and look, Purdue, they still, part of me, and they need to be a number 1 seed. I do. I think
for sure, 100%.
Part of me still worries because I look at him and I just see Iowa from last year. And maybe that's wrong because the metrics are similar. They're not good defensively. Illinois missed a lot of wide open shots last night.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend like it was, locked down like they were in Azkaban last night. Illinois missed a ton of good looks. Hit some, but missed a ton of good looks, and then they could not stop Purdue. Kofi, I think, went for 18?
He had 18.
10,
they had a good plan for Kofi.
Yeah, they did. Well, when you have 2, monsters, including Zach Edey.
That is true, but it was the ball side help. I mean, remember,
they trapped him every time down there.
Kofi's trying to throw the ball behind his back, over his head. It's like, that's not going to work.
They wore him
have
down.
A good plan.
Yeah. They end up wearing him down.
Still had 18.
You have Zach Edey and Travion Williams. I mean, those are the best tandem.
They're the best front court team
in college basketball.
For sure.
And,
centers. Let's say centers.
I
still think Walker and Jabari.
Yeah, the best center. Like for Kofi, you can only do so much. He got in foul trouble early. You can only stay in the game so long, and that kind of helps Jaden Ivey too.
Yeah,
it just does. Those guys are setting you picks. Good luck. Good luck getting around that. It's going to take you some time. It is.
It's science. Like having to move. It's like, I was going to go around and miss an apartment building.
You get Jaden downhill. I mean, good luck. And if you miss it, well, we have, the thing from Goonies and Zach. It plays a big part.
Yeah. Look, Purdue's got a ton of weapons offensively. It's just defensively. I can just see, one of these like scrappy teams. Like nobody knows, like for a little bit running with them because they're hitting threes, and eventually the size. Because look, when you have that type of size down low, when you're going to be as high a seed as they are, you're probably not going to run into somebody that has, a monster like that down low that can compete with you. So it just turns into, I am 12. Just here we go. Oh, I missed it. I dunked it. I already have a triple-double after 3 possessions. So, look, Purdue, that was a hell of a game. Illinois can make the Final Four.
Yeah, I'll one more point on that. Illinois can absolutely make it to the Final Four, and that's why I wanted to see that game so badly last night. But as great as Jaden Ivey is, and they have a lot of pieces even in the backcourt, I do think they need to push the ball through the post a little bit more. Not use those big guys just as rebounders or just as defenders, but actually get them going in the post a little bit more. Now, look, Jaden, I think last 8 minutes of that game realized, look, I'll put the ball in my hand every single play, and I'll pass it to them after I've already driven in there.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it first and then make a
decision. So I get that, but I think that in the first half especially, like, get it going through the post a little more.
No, yeah, and look, that's the great thing if you're Purdue. You can do it 9 different ways, but when it comes down to it, I don't care if it's against, the Northwestern Musical Band or if it's in the Sweet 16. When it comes down to crunch time, there's one guy that's getting that ball, and he's either taking it to the rack or he's trying to take you, to a water park from 3. So I can continue to watch Jaden Ivey. It's just fun. It was great basketball. There's a lot of great basketball last night. But let's move on, Cody. What do we got next?
We got some Super Bowl 56 action.
Let's do it.
The question I have here is, which underrated player will have a breakout performance in the Super Bowl? Let's break it down. I want everyone to answer.
Okay, Blaine, you start. I want to go last because
I love going first. Let the big dog eat first. All right. Yeah. So let's think about it realistically. All right. You kind of go look at Jalen Ramsey in this playoff. He hadn't really traveled that much unless the guy who they were scared of at first is starting to ball, right? And then they're like, all right, Jalen, go
there
guard
he
him.
is.
All right. So I'm thinking about what the Rams would want to do. All right. realistically, if you're Jalen, I'm going to get T. Higgins. I'm locking T. Higgins, and I'm rolling double coverage, right, to Jamar. I'm doubling
bracket to Jamar.
I'm bracketing Jamar. So if I'm the Bengals, who does that leave me, right? What about C.J. Uzomah?
Ooh,
tight end.
He's going to play.
Yeah, well,
He's questionable, right?
That's fine. Well, did y'all watch the parade where he got on there, got his
I know
knee
he
brace,
said, listen,
took it off and threw it behind him?
He's like, I'm not missing this game.
Yeah, it's the biggest game of his career. He's not going to miss this. But it's the little things like this, and the tight end over the middle. And the secondary, other than Jalen Ramsey in the Rams secondary, they're not a bunch of great players. You got Weddle, who's done after this.
He was playing pickup basketball before they picked him back up.
Yeah, so they're not just the best secondary in the world. The Rams eat up front.
Yes.
That's where the Rams eat.
You can hide it.
So if CJ, I'm not talking 100+.
You're talking about maybe a big touchdown
maybe 4
late?
or 5 receptions, a touchdown, 60 to 70 yards, stuff like that. If he makes the Rams honor them, start to worry about them, then it just opens up. You got Boyd. Then you got T if Jalen goes to Jamar, right? I just think that the little guys in this, and I know the tight ends are kind of hurt for the Rams, but C.J. Uzomah, I'm telling you, sneaky, sneaky, sneaky.
Well, he's a guy 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, need a big conversion. I like it. You dug down the depths. Coney Baloney, what do you got?
I want to show the Hogs some love.
Ooh.
The Hogs, okay? Ooh. Underrated player going to break out here. Jonah Williams, left tackle. Okay? For the Bengals.
He's reporting is eligible.
First-round pick out of Bama in 2019.
I'm shocked. A first-round pick out of Bama.
I say it because they're going to need it. You have to protect Joe Burrow, right? So, they gave up, let's see here. Bengals allowed 55 sacks this season, 3rd most behind the Bears and the Ravens. That's 3.5 a game. Mm-hmm. If they give up 4 or more, I don't know if the Bengals can win this game. So can they protect Joe Burrow against Aaron Donald, Von Miller? Can they do it?
Leonard
I don't
Floyd.
know. Jonah Williams.
No shot
Jonah
in
Williams.
hell.
Hey, the Simpsons picked the Bengals to win like 5 years ago.
Look, the Simpsons picked a lot of stuff. You go back and look at sections.
34-31 Bengals.
All right, so you've got the time machine.
So let's see if they can protect Joey's franchise.
You know what I like?
Yeah.
A good whiskey. You know what a good whiskey is? Blanton's. You know who my underrated player in this game is? Super Bowl 56? It's Kendall Blanton. Tyler Higbee.
Who?
Tight end Kendall Blanton. Tyler Higbee's beat up. Mm-hmm. Talked about C.J. Uzomah, former Missouri Tiger. Went from practice squad to roster. Got up. Took advantage.
Wow.
Had a good game last game. I think Kendall Blanton has at least 1 touchdown and over 40 yards. I think it's going to be a huge touchdown, whether it be early, whether it be late. They're all big. Some are bigger than the other ones. Don't be surprised if Kendall Blanton makes some big plays in the Super Bowl and everybody's going to be saying, who's that? Who's that guy? And all the Missouri fans are going to be like, we know who that is. So I'm just telling you, you want a prop bet? Take Kendall Blanton to score a touchdown.
So an Auburn guy, a Bama guy,
and a Missouri guy. Hey, but there's SEC bias,
does
though.
it just mean more?
Yeah. But there's SEC bias, though, Emmanuel Acho. It's SEC bias, right?
Let's talk about running backs real quick. You got Cam Akers, Sony Michel. I mean, what do you think about Joe Mixon? What do you think from a running back?
Yeah, I really like Cam Akers. Oh, God, sorry, I just fumbled the ball.
Something to consider. I mean, it's something to consider late down the stretch.
Look,
who do you think?
Can you trust him?
I mean, what do you think on running back wise here in the Super Bowl?
Well, I love Joe Mixon, as a player. The stuff off the field, I'm not going to comment on that. If you're the Rams, do you really trust Akers when it matters most? Do you really trust him when it matters the most?
Do you have a choice? I mean,
that's the other problem. But that's where I think you see Matt Stafford, the option. That's where Cooper Kupp and some of these guys on these option routes are so nasty. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, all right, it's 3rd and 3, it's 3rd and goal from the 3.
Yeah.
You're looking at the Bengals. Are they going to be, loading up for the run? That's when that short passing game, those option routes, being able to read the leverage and get out, having a quarterback that can spit it out quick. Because, look, Matt has got an absolute, howitzer attached to his shoulder. But he also has touch. He can put the ball in places down low. He can float the lollipop, follow the yellow brick road. So I'll be more interested to see the play calling in 3rd and short with Sean McVay. How much play action are you going out of heavy personnel? How much boot are you going to give them? Getting Matt to kind of move around in the pocket a little bit. You look on the other side with the Bengals. I know you're talking about the Rams, but if you're the Bengals going up against that front, I know Jamar Chase has been really good in the short game, the intermediate game, and the long game, but I think that's where you can see the CJ Uzomas and guys like that. So what I'm always interested to see is you get paid to call the plays in the red zone and on third down. That's what you get paid to call. So how Sean will go about it on one side, how the Bengals will go about it on the other side, I'm very interested to see, because there will come a point in this game where the third down is the biggest of the game between the teams. I think what you'll see is the Rams will go up a little bit early. The Bengals will fight back, but there'll be that third down, whether it's to ice the game, whether it's to get back in the game, that 3rd and 2, that 3rd and 4 that turns into the 4th and 2. We're not even talking about 4th down and short. So who do you trust? And if you're the Bengals, you're looking across the other side, and Aaron Donald, whether you're throwing it or whether you're running it, he is an absolute problem. I mean, put him on a math test. The guy's a problem. So there's so many interesting storylines, but I'm telling you, Kendall Blanton, Spidey senses are off the charts right now. Start shooting across lights in the studio right here where we did the Zapruder film and the moon landing. So, look, we're going to continue to cover it as we get there. Look, it's Super Bowl weekend. It's Super Bowl weekend, so we're going to have this thing covered like a blanket at a picnic.
Joey B. Kingslayer, baby.
I should have followed the bourbon metaphor and said
Evan
Williams, Jonah Williams.
Let him slay the king. He's slayed a lot of princes. He took down Hector, rode him around all the city. He ain't taking down the emperor, though.
Who's the emperor?
Down Achilles.
Who's the emperor?
Who do you think the emperor is?
You say Matt Stafford, the guy who hadn't won a Super Bowl?
I'm not saying. No, I'm saying winning the whole thing. It's not the emperor is the Super Bowl. The king is the Super Bowl. It's not a person.
Patrick Mahomes.
Tom Brady was the closest thing to it. But the Super Bowl is the king.
Patrick
It's the
Mahomes.
king of all football games. It's the king of all sporting events. Follow the bouncing balls. Where's Waldo? He's in the top right of the page. Figure it out.
Patrick Mahomes is king, got slayed.
What does the
Patrick Mahomes.
What does the Booster Club have to say?
Ooh, you want to go to a Booster Club action?
Booster Club.
Push up de la Booster.
Let's do it.
All right. Got a question here from Jack Laney.
Reacher? Oh,
All right. Speaking of Jack, okay, we'll get into that later.
we'll get into that.
Does the portal affect preferred walk-ons and walk-ons getting scholarships, transfer portal?
No. Look, the roster size is what affects that. How many scholarships, you can give out. So if they were to increase it or decrease it, that would affect it. Transfer portal guys are just replacing other guys on scholarships. So it's a true numbers game, and you have a hard cap.
Yeah.
It doesn't vary with teams. There's a lot of talk about maybe taking the 85 scholarships to 95 scholarships, which if it's even across the board and it's an even playing field, then I don't have anything against it. I would rather increase it than decrease it to give guys more opportunities. It's a good question. But no, it doesn't impact the amount of preferred walk-ons you can have or the amount of guys that you can put on scholarship, because if you have scholarships available, you can always give it to those guys. It's a good question.
Which is good, because the walk-ons are the heart of any team, especially in football.
Look, a good walk-on program.
You know what walk-ons are?
Tell me.
They're tough.
They are tough. And it's a great restaurant, too, the Walk-Ons Bistro.
All right, we got a question here from Connor Morgan, who's a true OG booster.
True OG.
Right now, $100, pick 'em game. Neutral site, both teams are healthy. Are you taking the Auburn Tigers and basketball or Kentucky Wildcats?
Right now.
And
Neutral site?
Right now. Neutral site, both teams healthy.
Zep doesn't have strep throat anymore.
Both teams.
Sever Wheeler
Both
doesn't run
teams
into a brick
healthy.
wall before the game? Okay. I am taking Auburn. Auburn.
Tony?
Right. I'll take Kentucky right this second.
Good.
Even though Walker Kessler's so good, man.
If Walker, because Walker, if you could just be even with Jboy and turn it into a game where it's, we're getting putbacks and all that stuff's great. Everybody's going to get theirs. Everybody's going to get their rebounds, and you just turn it. That's about as pick 'em as you're going to get. I mean, that's a 50.1% to a 49.9%.
Yeah.
Use my math degree that I almost never got.
I don't know. I think Auburn is going to bounce back, but I'll take Kentucky right now.
All right, we got a question here from Maximum Max. All right. If you're an NBA scout, we kind of hit on this earlier. All right. Who are you taking as your number one pick and why?
You go ahead first, Connor.
And we're talking basketball here?
Correct.
Yeah.
Number one pick to go to the NBA, to ball out for 15 years. Man, I'll take Jabari Smith.
You'll take Jabari?
Jabari Smith. But, man, I'd like to take Jaden Ivey. And
I think I'm going to take Coach K's grandson. Got in the other night, saw some really good things. No. Looked good. Very cerebral. No. I'm going to take Jaden Ivey. I'm going to take Jaden Ivey.
I love that pick.
I'm going to take Jaden offensively. You know, like I said, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole again, but he can do so much. I think his game translates instantly to the NBA. Not that Jabari's doesn't.
Okay.
But I think his game translates instantly to the NBA. You know, I think they can both play multiple positions. Obviously, we've seen that. Defensively with Jaden. But you're going to the NBA, so it doesn't matter. Defense doesn't matter until you get to the playoffs. So I would take Jaden Ivey a little more experienced. But Jabari in the long run will probably be a better player.
And that's what I was thinking. And that's how they draft so much, right? The NBA draft is completely different than like all the...
Well, you need somebody who's going to come in now. If you're well, you know, I know they do the lottery in basketball.
They draft so much based off potential, you know? And I think that if you asked earlier, who would you take right now for your college basketball team if you only had one? I would take Jaden Ivey because that extra year, he's a sophomore, Jabari's a freshman, that one extra year between 18 and 19 is huge, right? And I think it does translate so much to what he's doing right now in the college game. But to have an NBA pick where you know you'll get to keep that player at least 5-6 seasons, I think that Jabari Smith in 3 years could be baby KD.
Yeah, look, the upside's nuts. I just watched Jaden and I'm like, man, I like the way he approaches the game.
You gotta love it.
I love his game. He's so versatile, dual threat.
All right. I don't mind that.
Who would you take?
Who would I would take?
All across the country.
I'm taking Jabari Smith.
Okay. Look, I don't think you can there's a lot of right answers.
It's
not Chet?
No, I like Jabari. I think Jabari can move better than
Would
Chet.
you take Chet before you took Jaden Ivey?
Yes, I would.
You would take Chet before you took Jaden Ivey?
Yes, I would.
Gotcha.
Right. I mean, it's different, and I know...
You're right. He looked great against Portland State.
Jaden, I mean, did he schedule the guys he's playing against?
No.
Okay.
He knew what he was going there.
It's different. It's different when you can go get me 20, 15, and 10.
You think Chet Holmgren's getting you 15?
I'm talking about Jabari Smith.
Oh, okay.
You gave me 25 points, 10 boards, and 5+ blocks every game. That's great. I don't think Jaden Ivey's doing
can rebound from a bad breakup in the NBA right now. So
who, Chet?
Yeah. There's a lot of. Guess what?
Well, I mean,
you're tall, buddy.
He's averaging.
But you're walking into a forest.
He's averaging 9 a game.
Yeah, good. Like I said, against
Pepperdine?
Goldilocks Tech.
Hey, Goldilocks Tech this year is deep.
Pretty underrated. Porridge, outstanding.
All right.
Gotta watch out for the Bears.
We got a question here from a Rams fan. All right. I like this. If the Rams do
original name.
If the Rams do not win the Super Bowl this year, does this season count as a failure?
I mean, yes, you're here. What's the whole point of playing in the NFL?
Yeah.
What's the whole point? You know, you're making money. I get it. But these guys are ultra competitive. Like I said, you've sold the farm on this one. Mm-hmm. No first-round draft picks, until Will Smith saves us from the zombies in 2024. So, yeah, look, I think you have to consider it a failure. You have the better team. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Yeah.
You have the better team. You do. Just look around. Better defensively, in my opinion. You look at the defensive line. You've got more weapons offensively. The Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase story is great. But you know what other story is great? Hansel and Gretel. And Little Red Riding Hood. And Flubber. Those are all great stories. And productions. But, to me, the Rams are the better team. It's Super Bowl bust. And it's in L.A.
Yeah.
It's home. In your backyard.
They do have the better team, and I think they're going to have more of a sense of urgency. I really do, because the majority of this team with Sean McVay at the helm was there a couple years ago, and they fell short, right? In a bad way to the Patriots. They had the number one offense, really couldn't do anything in the Super Bowl. So Matt Stafford has worked his whole career to try and get to this point, had to trade teams to do it, finally at a Super Bowl. So they're going to have more of a sense of an urgency than a young Bengals team with a really young quarterback and a second-year head coach, first-year head coach, something like that. So, I think there might be a little bit of maybe a Dan Marino effect with Joey Burrow. Like, man, I made it to the Super Bowl my second year. I'll probably play in 10 of these things like Tom Brady did. Dan Marino never made it back again.
True.
You know what I mean? Look, Dan Quinn with the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl with the Falcons in his second year. Never made it back again. So I think the Bengals need to be careful and not have that mentality, we got here so early. We're a shoo-in to play in like 5 more of these things over the next decade. The Rams know, hey, we've already lost one of these, and for our quarterback, he's worked his whole career to try and even get to the playoffs. They're going to have more of a sense of an urgency.
Yeah.
The words of Nick Saban. It just kind of feels like rat poison to me. You're joking. You're young.
We know.
You're young. I mean, it's your second year head coach. Y'all should just be happy to be here. They've been dogs, underdogs in every playoff game. Every playoff game, right? And there's that thing, and we hit about it earlier. There's something about Joe Joey B. Joey franchise. You pull up the dictionary, look up cool. What is this? A picture of Joe Burrow. Right? That's what it is. He's got that factor you can't teach.
Look,
That comeback Tommy B stuff. Right? 21-3 versus the Chiefs.
he's got that witchery. He does.
21-3?
But Aaron, I'm just telling you guys, I don't think Aaron Donald is going to let the Rams lose this. Like I said, the dude warms up against knives. Imagine that. Like when we get ready for the show, nobody's coming in here. I'm not like Keanu Reeves in against like butcher knives from the kitchen. Like I'm not doing that.
I actually do that.
Yeah, Blaine does do that. Which
I wake up every morning. Training against knives and fight a tiger.
yeah,
So
Blaine calls that
That's not how
breakfast.
you
and
wake
I'm
up this
pushing
morning.
P.
No.
So.
Yeah, and you're pushing P hard. Is that all from the Booster Club?
That is.
All right, I do before we go, kind of mix it up a little bit here.
Okay. You're Joe Mixon?
Joe Mixon.
Pretty good. Learn
That's
from
pretty
the
good.
best. You have a theory on Peter Pan
I do.
that I want everybody in the Booster Club and everybody to hear because
Okay.
I'm going to keep it as the kids call, a stizzy. It kind of blew my mind when you said it the other day.
Okay. All right. Well,
Sit
down, relax, open your ears, and expand your brain. You need to do. And really think about this. All right. Peter Pan is actually the bad guy, and Captain Hook is actually the good guy.
Whoa.
Peter Pan does what? Comes into kids' rooms late at night and what? He takes them to Neverland, right? Lost Boys, right? He takes them to Neverland, right? They never grow up or anything like that.
They eat fake food. Don't even feed them.
He steals kids at night.
Yeah.
That's what
and
he
doesn't
does.
even feed them real food.
Right?
He's like,
Captain Hook was a kid that he stole at night, but he got away, so that's how he grew up. And while he was trying to get away, the alligator from the movie bit his hand off.
Incredible.
That's why he has a hook.
He went Shawshank.
And so he comes back to Neverland on this ship to stop Peter Pan from taking more kids.
Wow.
Think about it.
You know-
and another thing, how does the sun light the earth when there's no light in space?
Okay, now you're getting. Now you're getting.
giving him a-
You're getting.
you're
I've
giving him a
given you an
spotlight.
opening, and now you're
Give him
just.
a
You're doing too much.
spotlight.
I want to
No.
just real quick before we go. That's right.
I mean,
About Peter Pan, though. Think about it. You're running around in tights, stealing kids at night, and all Captain Hook is trying to do is stop you from doing that.
So
Where in this theory? To me, that's.
Peter Pan is older than Captain Hook then? He is? With that theory, he must be.
Yeah.
Because Hook was a kid that he stole.
I mean, again, where's the where?
but you don't
where's
grow
the
up in
hole?
Neverland, right?
You don't grow up.
Captain Hook did what? While escaping Neverland, hand bit off. But he escaped, and then he what? He grew up. And now he comes back on a ship. Wheel.
That wasn't in Spielberg's version.
Well, maybe there needs to
Not
be
the
a
version
new.
you saw.
Maybe there. We need to call Steven. We'll call Steven. By the way, has Abe Lincoln reached back to
We
us
should
yet?
have Rufio on.
We should have Rufio on. Has Abe Lincoln reached back to us yet?
His agent is hard to get in touch. I heard
the email. He responded to us, but the email got stuck in his inbox.
Yeah, I heard he took
never lied.
I heard he took a shot to the head the other day, so he's working on it.
Yeah. We're going to end it there. We appreciate you guys joining us. Hit the like and subscribe button. Going to have another great show for you tomorrow. We're going to continue to monitor all these coaching situations. Brian Harsin, that as well. Make sure you tell your friends. You can tell everybody. We're going to be back tomorrow. And like the Bengals' chances of winning the Super Bowl after Matt Stafford does a touchdown to Kendall Blanton in the second quarter to go up 21. We're going, gone.